we picked up the cup, the plate, the spoon, the snow globe, the music box, etc. And then over time, you know, we had christenings and weddings and birthdays, and it just grew. Sometimes I put them away and then can't remember where I've put them.
This is not a museum or a gift shop. This is Jan Hugo's house. Home to a fervid obsession, a homage to princes, princesses, kings and queens, past, present and future. Even the toilets received a royal treatment, if you fancy sitting on a throne.
It probably takes up half of the house. I'm banned from putting it through the bedrooms. I have to keep some spare rooms for the grandchildren when they come. Otherwise, you know, there'd be nowhere for them to sleep. From 1981, Diana and Charles's engagement.
It started with this commemorative coin and ended, well, it still hasn't ended.
I wasn't smart enough to start and catalogue it back 43 years ago. You know, when you've got 2, 3, 10 pieces, no one ever thought it would get to 10,000 plus. So it's a bit late.
Pieces pertaining to Queen Elizabeth's reign hold a special place in her heart.
I think in the cupboard somewhere there's actually a plate that commemorated when she did open the Opera House. So that's a special one.
The Queen, looking charming in a powder blue silk dress and a matching hat.
Those who attended the Sydney Opera House opening half a century ago would surely remember two things: those howling northwesterly winds and the Queen's praise of her citizens' loyalty.
Thank you for your generous welcome to us and for your assurances of the loyalty and affection of the people of New South Wales.
That building over there is iconic. You know, people know it the world over. My understanding is that when the King arrives here, they're going to light up that building with images of the King's various visits. And of course, he's been here many times before, but coming to Australia for the first time as monarch is, yes, a really big deal. And of course, it's a long way to come.
His Majesty first came to Australia to attend school at Geelong Grammar, before returning as Prince of Wales on 15 official visits over 5 decades. The 11-day tour, commencing tomorrow, will be his first as Australia's King and Head of State.
It's going to be a big deal. He's speaking in Canberra, he's meeting politicians, he's at the Opera House, he's going to have a review of the fleet. They've packed a lot in to his schedule here, but it is a lot shorter. You look at different opinion polls, some people say, actually, I quite like the link to the motherland. Other people think that there should be an Australian who's the Australian head of state.
When Captain Cook discovered this part of the great Southland and claimed it for the British Crown, he was sailing in quest of knowledge.
It just doesn't make any sense in this day and age in Australia to have any roles in our democratic life where the person in the role has inherited it by birthright.
Citing their own research, the Republic movement claims 40% of Australians don't realise King Charles is our head of state, and 60% want the role to be held by an Australian.
It really is time for us to see the final tour of a sitting Australian monarch as we all look forward to the future Australian Republic.
Monarchy, the farewell tour.
We thought this was a great way of reframing in a positive and light-hearted way the conversation about Australia's future. First of all, why does Australia still have a monarchy? Secondly, Australian democracy is not a show.
It certainly hasn't impressed the traditionalists.
I think it's a juvenile effort, and it also plays the Australian people for fools. I mean, the idea that some mock concert poster, the farewell royal tour or whatever it is that they're up to, could be a convincing and erudite argument for constitutional change is frankly ridiculous. Australians aren't that silly.
Composer Alexander Volz is among a cohort of Australians defending the status quo.
They make a big song and dance about now's the time, but that's becoming a very monotonous chant. They've been going on about that for several decades.
The Republican movement formed in 1991, touring cross-country.
The Republic will not impede the reportage of the royals.
They took Australia to a referendum in 1999, which failed.
We're thrilled that the No case has won a resounding victory.
And today, opinion polls continue producing varied views. News Corp's Pulse of Australia found fewer people support becoming a republic, and just under half thought Australia should remain a constitutional monarchy.
We need to make sure that the apex of that is not something that reinforces some notion of elitism or privilege, but is thoroughly democratic and thoroughly Australian.
The Republicans' wishes were detailed in a letter sent to the King last year, and just this week, the palace's reply was leaked.
The key bit here is whether Australia becomes a republic is therefore a matter for the Australian people to decide. In a way, it's very clever the way they've been so polite in here. Their Majesties have a deep love and affection for Australia and Australian people, and your thoughtfulness in writing, as you did, is warmly appreciated. He kind of takes the sting out of the tail. It's going to be a debate when he comes here, and here we have it in black and white to say, look, we will respect whatever decision is made, but it doesn't look like there's a referendum on the horizon anytime soon.
But the contentions will surely continue as the King's tour commences, with confirmation all state premiers turned down an invitation to a royal function in Canberra for various reasons. After the Australian leg, the King and Queen will travel to Samoa for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting before heading home.
We can't predict the future. We don't know, how many more times he'll be able to come back.
I do hope they put their faces from this visit on the tea towel. So we need to round up some souvenirs from this trip.
Jan Hugo couldn't care less about the debate.
Doesn't matter, I won't stop. Whenever there's a royal alive, I won't stop.